Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our YouTube channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that this video is actually going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine, as you can see. Kisumu is also fantastic, and maybe you could also let me know where you are watching the video from. The county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. And for this video, ladies and gentlemen, let me know the name of your former primary school, because your classmate might actually be on this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, Raila Odinga is heartbroken. And Raila Odinga is regretting why he never supported Tim Wanyonyi for the Nairobi gubernatorial seat in 2022. And Raila Odinga believes very strongly that if he had supported Tim Wanyonyi, there is no way Johnson Sakaja would have defeated him. And he's actually taking the blame because he's the one who was used to convince Tim Wanyonyi to withdraw from the race. And Raila Odinga is revealing that the Azimio candidate, Polycarp Igathe, was actually a weak candidate.
Tukiwa na silaha tisi tunashinda. Muliona ile iliyopita ile mimi nilipata kura 1900. Uhuru akapata 1500. Hii ya juzi hii nimepata 800 na kitu. Ruto akapata 500. Sio? Sivyo? Gavana hatukupata sio kwa sababu hatukuwa na watu. Lakini candidate tulikuwa naye ndio haikuwa sawa. Ni sababu maana yake kama sisi tumeshinda ni senator, tumeshinda women rep, tumeshinda president, tunashindwaje kwa nini kiti ya governor? Hatungeweza kushindwa, tungeshinda kwa mbali sana. Na mimi mwenyewe ninajuta kwa sababu mimi ndio niliambiwa niambie timu awache. Na timu akamungwana akakubali. Kwanza tulikuwa nasema awe running mate, lakini baadaye akaniambia mimi hapana. Nimefikiria hii maneno nikasema hapana, mimi nitarudi Westland. Nikubalia mimi nirudi wapi? Yakarudi Westland. Sasa yeye amerudi Westland. Lakini sisi tunaangalia mbele huko sasa. Sasa unajua ambaye aliokoka hahitaji nini? Injili. Aliokoka hahitaji injili. Mnakuja kunihubiria injili ati weke timu huko. Hii ni kazi bure sana. Mimi najua mambo ya timu.
So in this video, I want us to figure out why Raila Odinga is regretting. But before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. And without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to dive in. But before I dive in, allow me to also take this opportunity to thank the following people. You are seeing their names on the screen there for the coffee which they sent to me earlier, because it goes a long way in supporting the channel. And I want to thank this gentleman. There's a gentleman who saw me somewhere in Kisumu, I think K-City. I was passing somewhere, he saw me, and then he asked the guys, there's a coffee shop there. I think he was seated there. That is that Lee? Yes, the guys told him that's Lee. Then he paid for this. Lakeside Coffee. He paid for this, and I don't know him. Those guys don't know him. Just know it was well received. Ladies and gentlemen, Raila Odinga is regretting why he never supported Tim Wanyonyi.
Mimi nimesimama kwa chama cha ODM. Mnasikia? Na katika chama cha ODM Nairobi, the only candidate ni Tim Wanyonyi. Hakuna mtu mwingine. Kwa hivyo wale wanakuja wanasema wao wamesimama kwa Azimio, muulize chanzo chake ni nini? Chama yake ni nini kwanza? Sawa sawa? Kwa sababu nimeona wale watu wanakuja wafanye biashara wengine Hajatoka hata chama yoyote.
As a matter of fact, Nairobi was for Tim Wanyonyi in 2022. I doubt if there's anything that would have stopped Tim Wanyonyi from winning that seat. Then from nowhere, Uhuru Kenyatta came with the idea of Polycarp Igathe. And Polycarp Igathe's campaign, in my view, was not inspiring.
Look, Nairobi has 42 MCAs who are Kikuyus. The 43s are others in 2013. 45 are Kikuyus last time when I ran. 40 are others, other tribes. You know, I don't have beef with the Kikuyus. I'm a Kikuyu myself. I just want Kikuyus to really take themselves to what we call a Moshemanio, a meeting. Nairobi has 45 MCAs. I can tell you, because I like to speak mother tongue, because this is politics. These 45 Kikuyu MCAs are controlled by 3 Somalis. That's a fact.
In fact, if it was a matter of Jubilee candidate, the other candidate would have managed to win would have been that Richard Ngatia. But I don't understand why Polycarp Igathe was brought on board. And today, Raila Odinga expressed his regrets why he left out Tim Wanyonyi. And he gave clear data that Azimio won the presidential seat elections, the presidential vote. Azimio won the women rep vote. Azimio won the gubernatorial, the senatorial vote. In fact, let me give you the actual figures because I have them somewhere here. According to these figures, at the Senate, Sifuna had 716,000 votes. Margaret Wanjiru had 524,000 votes. That's a huge difference. Women rep, Pasaris had 698,000 votes against Milik Sentomanga, 586 votes. Again, huge margin. Governor Johnson Sakaja had 699 votes. Igathe had 573. So you see the difference. Then you come to the presidential. Raila Odinga had 767,000 votes, while Ruto had 561. So which means, if you look at the presidential votes, if you look at these figures, UDA candidates, none of them reached 600. They were just below 550. They were 500 there. But Sakaja got 699, which means majority of ODM supporters, or the Luhya votes for that matter, who are not happy with Igathe, ended up voting for Sakaja. That's exactly what happened with Mike Sonko and Kidero. When Kidero was the governor, he never treated ODM supporters the way he ought to have. So when the elections came, majority of ODM supporters then decided, especially those in the from slums, decided to side with Sonko. And of course, if you added the Kamba votes, Sonko was able to defeat Kidero. So from these figures, there is no way Sakaja would have defeated Tim Wanyonyi. But why do you think Raila Odinga was forced to support Polycarp Igathe and to prevail on Tim Wanyonyi to withdraw his candidature? That's the first thing I want us to look before we go deep into why Raila Odinga is regretting now. Number one, Nairobi, from that time up to now, number one, Nairobi was part of the Azimio negotiations, so that it was part of the national agenda. Raila Odinga believed that Jubilee was going to bring some value. Of course they did, if you ask me. And that Jubilee was going to add some votes to him. And that Jubilee was going to contribute to his presidency. So one of the demands by Jubilee was that you go for the presidency, you give us Nairobi. I think it was making sense because if you look at it currently, you see the way Ruto, Sakaja, and the deputy president are fighting. It's because of these issues. So the truth is, if things had gone according to this guy's plan, the idea was the Kikuyus were going to vote for Igathe. Then they were going to vote for Raila. Then Raila was going to win the presidency. Then they were going to manage Nairobi. And that's why Uhuru brought on board someone who is a manager who was going to manage Nairobi, Polycarp Igathe. Number two, why he supported Igathe was to try and appeal to the Kikuyu nation, especially in Nairobi. Because if you look at the voting pattern in Nairobi, Raila Odinga has consistently won Nairobi. But if you look at the differences, it's the same. So which means even those Kikuyus in Nairobi who was being persuaded by the nomination of Igathe did not buy it in. But the fact is, the idea of having a Kikuyu gubernatorial candidate in Nairobi was to convince the Kikuyu nation to vote for Azimio. Not only for the governor in Nairobi, but for other seats. And that's why it was easy for Jubilee to win seats in Nairobi, but not in Mount Kenya. So that hesabu ilingia to some extent, but Igathe was just a weak candidate. Number three, the other arithmetic was for Nairobi, the Kikuyu plus Luo factor. There was a strong feeling that Sakaja was coming as a Luya candidate. And therefore, a Kikuyu candidate would have been the best. You support a Kikuyu, you combine with the Luos, boom. But the problem was the way Tim Wanyonyi was managed. Because Tim Wanyonyi was on the ground, he really campaigned. You saw his supporters crying when he was told to withdraw. And on the day Tim Wanyonyi announced that he was withdrawing from the seat. So those are the factors that forced Raila Odinga, because Raila Odinga was also desperate for the Kikuyu votes. Those are the factors that forced him to appeal or to request Tim Wanyonyi to pull out. But why do you think Raila is regretting now? Number one is that Nairobi is crucial for any presidential candidate or for any political party. The truth of the matter is that there are those who believe 100% that Joseph Sakaja did not really win the actual votes in Nairobi. That Nairobi ukarabati pia ilifanyika. And during the campaigns, during the voting, you can remember there were issues of Nairobi, but people really never paid very close attention. Now, assuming Raila was the president, and then Sakaja was the governor, of course, they would have worked, but not freely. So even right now, if Raila Odinga was outside presidency, even right now, if Raila Odinga was outside the presidency the way he is, but Tim Wanyonyi was the governor of Nairobi, then Nairobi would have been safe for ODM. And because of the interest in Nairobi, that's why he's regretting. Remember, William Ruto was interested in 3 counties: Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kakamega. But he lost Nairobi and Kakamega. He lost Mombasa and Kakamega. In fact, he colluded with IBC to postpone the gubernatorial election in Mombasa and the one in Kakamega. If there was any gubernatorial election which ought to have been postponed, it would have been the Nairobi one. Why? Because the way the court process went, by the time Sakaja was nominated, even the printing of those papers came late. But Nairobi was contacted because they had planned on how they were going to do it. So the fact that Nairobi is so crucial is the reason Raila Odinga is regretting. Number 2, Raila Odinga, I think, also feels that he betrayed the loyalty of Tim Wanyonyi. There are several people. I want to just give you a case study. Why would Felix Jalango betray Raila Odinga, for example? This is a guy Raila Odinga even funded his campaign. This is a guy Raila Odinga really supported. Why would he betray Raila and not Tim Wanyonyi? Because if there's someone who can actually work with Ruto and would be justified, it's Tim Wanyonyi. Because we all saw Tim Wanyonyi being requested against his wish to withdraw from the gubernatorial seat. So Raila Odinga feels that despite the fact that he never supported Wanyonyi, Wanyonyi is still loyal. And therefore, he needs to return that favor. I don't know what's going to happen, because my understanding is that Raila Odinga is also working very closely with Sakaja. And as a matter of fact, there are individuals who are actually nominated by Sakaja, by Raila, to work in Nairobi gubernatorial seat. Number 3, I'm 100% sure that Raila Odinga is also laying the ground for 2027. If you are keen, that event was an ODM event. If you're keen, that event was an ODM event. Which means, being an ODM event, it means Raila Odinga is trying to give ODM visibility, is trying to lay the ground, so that Nairobi, they already have a gubernatorial candidate. He's going to go to the next county, the next county, the next county, moving forward. So if you ask me, Raila is laying the ground for his 2027. Either the presidential bid, or is laying the ground for ODM, so that even if they were to support someone else, then Nairobi will be under them. Raila Odinga is also regretting number 4, because the Kikuyu votes that he really wanted never came through. Why do you think Tim Wanyonyi was sacrificed? Wanyonyi was sacrificed because of the Kikuyu votes. That is the fact. Those Kikuyu votes never came. If they had come, Tim Wanyonyi would have been the governor. So they lost both the presidency and Nairobi. I'm 100% sure that if Tim Wanyonyi had been nominated as ODM candidate, he would have won. And that is the fact. Number 5, in my view, I also believe that it could also be Raila Odinga's strategy to win the Luhya votes. Because in 2027, the Luhya equation is going to play a very big role. William Ruto is keen on it. Raila Odinga is also keen on it. Whether Kalonzo will be the presidential candidate, or whether Raila Odinga will be a presidential candidate, that Luhya votes. But Luhya votes are normally determined in Nairobi. If you've been studying the Luhya voting pattern, the way Nairobi votes is the way they will always vote. And that's why Musalia Mudavadi has always failed to win Nairobi. He's focusing more on the ground, Uko Vihiga. Those people are influenced from Nairobi. And lastly, I think Johnson Sakaja's popularity has also gone down. And because Johnson Sakaja's popularity has also gone down, I can easily conclude that's the motivation behind Raila pushing for Tim Wanyonyi. And maybe he also believes that the Kikuyu nation might also produce another presidential candidate, another gubernatorial candidate in Nairobi. I don't know what to think. That's my take. Thank you, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.